Leroy. Snatch that home court, dude, like candy from a baby. The Heat strategy for the postseason keeps on. 8 seed, you can talk about it all you want, but why fight for an 8? Why fight for home court advantage all season when you can take it in a game, baby? What a absolute great effort tonight from your favorite basketball team, the Miami Heat, taking out the Boston Celtics, and a just tremendous performance from everybody involved after things, especially were looking a little dicey there in the second quarter. They came out with an absolute haymaker after halftime. Listen, I know we were all fearful in this spectrum of NBA fandom of the third quarter, but that was as clean colon as it gets, dude. They came out there, outscored Boston 45-25, an absolute onslaught. Big time quarters from Bam Adebayo, Max Strus, and Jimmy mother effing buckets. Best player in the world, not Jason Tatum, who you wouldn't know by it because you log into TNT today, you tune on it, There's like 9 Jason Tatum montages. If I had to hear about that Game 7 51-pointer again, oh my God, it was like I was watching Nesson. It was the Boston Celtics pregame show going into this thing today. Maybe just, I don't know, spice it up a little time next time, TNT. And by the way, why don't you learn Max Strus's name that entire broadcast? All right, Chuck. All right, Shaq. Respect to Shaq, of course, champion in the rafters. And was giving good love to the Heat in the postgame. But come on, dude. Respect this man's name. This man has been in the playoffs now for back-to-back years and has been a monster hitting big-time shots. That man is also a handsome devil who's going to make a whole lot of money. Max Strus was money. Everybody was money today for this complete team effort. Malcolm Brogdon, you done effed up, Chief, because you came into this series with the one thing that you shouldn't have mentioned. All right? You could have mentioned the talent. You could have mentioned the pedigree. Whatever. I don't care. But you came into this game and you're talking about the idea that you're going to out-tough the Miami Heat. That's just downright stupid and disrespectful. And they were having none of that after what was a parade through the paint in the first half where Boston was going willy-nilly to the rim as they pleased and looked like they were really flipping momentum on its head. They got a 13-point lead there in the second quarter. Miami made it manageable with some tough shots, but they were really bottling up Jimmy. They were doing a hell of a job defensively. Miami was looking really, really dysfunctional after what was a pretty even first quarter. Played really well, back and forth. I think, what was it? It was 13 lead changes or something like that in the first quarter. It was something crazy. 13 lead changes, 6 ties in that first quarter. Very, very back and forth. And then it was all Boston in that second quarter to really go and put a clamp on this, and it really was a tough thing to see, and it really happened after Bam took his second rest in that second quarter. They went on this run, and you're like, man, I don't even know if you can afford to sit Bam out about. I don't know what they're doing. Heat were turning the ball over like crazy. Just nothing that has been their identity. You knew they could play a lot better, and at that point, it was only a single-digit deficit. There was plenty of things to improve upon and not a big deal. I was thinking to myself going into halftime, like, look, that wasn't ideal. Marcus Smart was carving him up, dicing him up with his passes to Robert Williams. Robert Williams had an amazing first half, getting offensive rebounds. I think he had 4, getting second chance points, getting lobs. And then, they were giving a parade to the free throw line, everything. Jason Tatum, every time he does that stupid spin move, it's like, the referees don't know what to do. They're like, oh, he spun, foul. Every time. Every single time. But things turned around in that third quarter, and it was just, you come out there, great start for Bam, who was aggressive all game. They were giving him those one-on-one matchups, and he was taking them. He was going to the rim. He was feeling confident. That same type of mentality that he had in the New York series. We saw this today. And it was interesting because Jaylen Brown, he talked about the Heat up and down in the practice before this. Didn't even mention Bam Adebayo's name, and I thought that he was a huge tone setter for Miami, getting a lot of the easy buckets because they were they were doing a bit of what the Milwaukee Bucks were doing. Like, hey, we're daring you. Go ahead, let's see what you can do. Stan Van Gundy was pointing this out, and he took that challenge and really, really dumped it on him. He was absolutely fantastic today. Bam with 20 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal. He was just a great game. 9 of 13 from the floor. Super efficient game from Bam. And that's exactly what you want from 13, man. If he can give you those type of numbers, Miami's absolutely going to have a very good chance to win this series. More than a mother bleeping 3% chance. ESPN, a 3% chance. You rat bastards coming here and say, oh, they got no shot. And I got to tell you, watching this post game with Charles Barkley, like so upset that the Miami Heat, he picked the Heat. Kenny picked the Heat. He was like, well, it's one of 7, not one of one. It's like, that's your first inclination. Like, you're not going to talk about what this team has been doing all playoffs long. You still want to sit there and bitch about the Boston Celtics, who do what they have been doing this entire postseason. Sometimes teams show you what they are. This team has not been a good home team. They have not been daunting in TD Garden. They have been a 500 team in their building, and they have not steamrolled their way through the playoffs, much to everybody's surprise. If you would describe the way they've been playing, you would think that you were taking on the Showtime Lakers. They are not that. They're not Larry Bird's Boston Celtics. They are not this dominant juggernaut. Miami has been much more dominant in the playoffs so far than the Boston Celtics. They have. That's it. There is no debate about that. That is the facts. And this formula that they've had of taking game one, they have done it in the Bucks series, they've done it in the New York series, and they've now done it in this series. And now all they have to do is protect home court, where they have not lost this entire postseason, because that is what a good playoff team is actually supposed to do. So for everybody who wants to come here and say, oh, Sully and Murphy and O'Keefe and O'Malley and O'Mai, all that stuff that you want to say that was going to rally, it doesn't, dude. It doesn't. And Jimmy Buckets, what a performance by him. Things could have gotten steamrolling the right way for Boston, especially after this third quarter, because, Miami just played such a flawless third quarter. Everybody was getting shots going. Jimmy Buckets, he had the 3-ball going. He had the jumper going. He had that beautiful floater going. Getting to the line like a menace today. Jimmy's final line today, 35 points. 35 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 6 steals. 6 steals for Jimmy Butler. 12 of 25 from the field, 2 of 4 from downtown, including a beautiful dagger that totally meant to go up, down, and around to sink in and sink the Celtics. And 9 of 10 from the free throw line. Just a beauty performance from Jimmy Butler today. Definitely looked like he had his legs. We saw that lift on his jump shot. We really did not see that in the Knicks series. Jimmy Butler was doing pretty much nothing but bully ball from games 3 through 6 because he just didn't have that same lift. But all of those shots that he goes into the gym late at night working on with his trainer and getting to those spots, we saw a lot of those moves today, and they were working fantastic. And when they were collapsing on him, he was finding Caleb Martin for big-time threes. He was finding Max Strus. He was the hub for everything in that fourth quarter to stave off Boston and get this game. And I swear to Christ, Boston, I really do. If I hear any of you, which I already heard their coach say, which is crazy. I was trying to give the dude some credit going into this thing. Saying, I think Boston's being a little bit tough. I think the media's being a little bit tough on him. Only going to get tougher for him. Got to be honest with you. It's really only going to get tougher for Joe Mazzulla because he came out here and actually had the audacity to do the thing that they did last year, which was, well, Miami only won one quarter. What? What? Okay. But the quarter you lost by 21, dude. You gave up a 46 spot at a halftime. So, what do we? You won the first quarter by 2. All right. So let's call that a push. And the fourth quarter, you won by 5 with your little rally there at the start of the thing. Okay. So let's look at, you had your little push in the second quarter. The Miami Heat had a complete flip it on its head in the third quarter. And really just, he at one point was throwing the clipboard on the ground and freaking out there. But hey, what do I know, huh? I'm just a homer idiot, right? That's all I am. I'm just somebody who roots for this basketball team, was the only one to pick them against the Bucks, and now they find themselves in the Celtics series where ESPN's given 3% chance, no expert in the world other than Sedano, Bobby Marks, shout out boys. and my guy Leroy Horde now finally on board, are picking the Miami Heat to beat the Boston Celtics. I don't know if Shaq did or not, but, it's just amazing. This Boston team and these two guys in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, these guys have been the uncrowned kings of the NBA now. I mean, they treat them like royalty. They smooch their ass, and yet here the Miami Heat stand, 3 wins away from getting back to the NBA Finals. And Jimmy Butler, call me crazy. I mean, maybe you just want to go out there and maybe throw him a montage. Maybe one pregame montage come Friday night. That's all I'm saying. Dude, that's all I'm saying. One little pregame, one little say, hey, isn't this Jimmy Butler awesome? 6 mother bleeping steals on the road. Just completely terrorizing Boston. And Jason Tatum, whew. Let's take a little looky-loo at these fourth quarter numbers for Jason Tatum today. Everybody's a God's gift to basketball, as we like to refer to him. We're so lucky we get to watch Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum, in the fourth quarter, his numbers, he had 6 points, all from the free throw line, no field goal attempts, 3 turnovers. I believe they were all in the last 3 minutes. I think they were all in the last 3 minutes. So, great job, Jalen. Great job, Jason. And Jaylen Brown, nobody plays basketball better than those guys. How can the poor little Miami Heat, how could Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler stand to hold up to these guys? I mean, you got the likes of Peyton Pritchard coming off the bench. You got the, Derek White, who they've kicked out of the starting lineup, who's fouling up the wazoo. How could they? And then Mr. Toughness, Malcolm Brogdon, who was actually pretty decent today. I will give it up. Look, he, if you want to say guys who showed up today, he gave you 20 off the bench. Malcolm Brogdon was really good for them. But, for him to go out there and be like, oh, we're going to out-tough them. We're going to do all this. We're going to do, all right. Because Boston, I'm trying to see right now, Boston going into the half had, let's see here. Second chance points for Boston, they had 10. They finished with 18. Miami only had 2 second chance points, and they finished with 12. So Miami was able to outperform them in second chance points in the second half. Points in the paint, it finished 62-40. And going into halftime, it was 40-16 in Boston's favor. So Miami was able to limit them to 22 points in the paint come in the second half. And Miami put up 24 in the second half. So, hey, man, what can you say? This Miami Heat team, who everybody wants to write off, dismiss, whatever the hell you want to go with, just a thing of beauty today. A thing of beauty. 24-22. That was the final on second chance points. I just got the second half box score. Probably should have just done that instead of terrible arithmetic in my head. Not very good at the math. But you know what I am? You know what I can count to? I can count to 4, and the Miami Heat have 1 win in this series. They're now 3 away from going to the NBA Finals and have taken home court advantage. So I am aware of that. Chuck. And by the way, do some research. Charles Barkley, he goes out here, and I know that Charles Barkley and Shaq always run things from, the stars got to do this, the stars got to do this. So always the post-game analysis for that show. It's not basketball analysis. By the way, I'm not the biggest X's and O's guy either. I'm not going to pretend that I am, okay? I'm no wizard here who's going to tell you what horns is or anything like that, all right? But these guys, every time, it's just, what did the star do? What did the star do? What did the star do? And their whole thing is, well, Jason Tatum's got to demand the ball. He's got to fight somebody. He's got to fight somebody if he's not getting the ball, which, all right, I don't know. But Charles Barkley's like, yeah, and you can't have those 4 guys each score 15 points a game. And the guys he was referring to, Max Strus, who they didn't know his name, Caleb Martin, who just continues to be a menace, taking big shots, doesn't matter the moment. Giannis in his face, in the TD Garden, in the playoff, first round, second round, conference finals. Let me tell you something about Caleb Martin. He ain't scared, dude. Caleb Martin, he ain't scared. He's going to take those shots. Kyle Lowry, by the way, shout out to him. He was a menace, really kept the boat afloat in that second quarter. So Kyle was doing some big things for Miami today. And, Gabe Vincent, who's got the tough task, he's on a lot of their killers up at the point of attack. And he, again, what a night today for him. 3 of 5 from downtown, 15 points. Great performance. Great performance all around from the guys, but put some not only just respect on Miami. Hey, national media, America, enjoy the Miami Heat. They're fun. They are fun. This is an amazing story. An 8 seed who came into the playoffs, took down a juggernaut, a 2-time MVP and a champion, went into everybody's darling in New York and slayed them. And now, taking on the Boston Celtics, let's be honest, none of us like that city. What are we doing here? Why are we rooting for this team to go into the NBA Finals? I'm not talking about Heat Nation right now. We know that they're all rat bastard. We know that Boston's rat bastard. But for the rest of you who are peeping in here, what are you doing rooting for this Boston team? Just so you can see Jason Tatum do that spin move? It's not like the dude is Mr. Charisma. I don't understand it. You want to talk about personality versus personality. Jimmy Butler, way more fun than Jason Tatum, okay? You just talk about, as far as a vibe of a game goes, the Jimmy Butler experience, what's better than this in the playoffs, Like, even Jokic. So Jokic is amazing. Great showdown yesterday. What's he doing? One stare down with Anthony Davis. But like the walking meme that is Jimmy Butler, on top of the idea that he's just an absolute assassin. Why are you people not enjoying this? Like, I'm looking around here. I'm like, you guys are missing the best show, and not only the best player in the NBA right now, you're missing the best show in the NBA right now. So, look, dude, I'm not going to over-celebrate tonight. Task at hand. You took game 1. Still got a long way to go in this series. But you did exactly what you had to do, which was take one of the first 2. You got a tremendous performance from everybody today out on the road. I'm sure Boston's going to come with a haymaker and try and shoot like a gazillion threes, just like Milwaukee did in game 2. And we'll see. We'll see what Miami's response is. But I know one thing. This team, remember, New York, they didn't really get that chance because Jimmy was hurt, and they still gave it a very, very valiant effort. So I still expect Miami to come strong in the second game, and it'll be interesting to see with Miami getting that extra rest, the 4 days off, which was also an important thing of taking today's game. What'll be what'll be Boston's gas tank with only these every other days off, because they were just in this, back and forth emotional series against Philly. And a lot of heat's going to come down on them, dude. A lot of heat's going to come down. I'm not talking about the Miami Heat. That's coming on Friday. I'm talking a lot of angst and a lot of criticism and the young rookie coach and, superstars and Sully and Murphs and all that stuff. It's like I said to you, Malcolm Brogdon, when you said you were going to out-tough the Heat. Don't lose. Don't lose, dude. Except you did today, didn't you?